from the Super Bowl. Let's get our buddy in, Mike Silver, as well, on the Bud Light guest line. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Hello, Mr. Silver. How's Arizona?
Oh, it's a madhouse, but the usual. It's lonely without those 49ers, but a lot of action as the Chiefs and Eagles get into it.
I'm not sure if you sound more like Tommy Heinsohn from his heyday or Doc Rivers right now, Mike. Who are you channeling right now with your hoarseness?
Well, it's kind of a trademark. I don't know if you guys know this, but every single Super Bowl I sound like this, Combine as well. So those who know me will not be surprised. They'll be surprised how good I sound, given that it's already Thursday.
Right, perfect. So it's Mike Silver on brand right here on 95.7 The Game. Hey, Mike, we're going to jump right to it. I don't know if you know this or not. We had a really big discussion the other day based on the podcast conversation with Joe Montana. And I'm sitting here going, there's so many things that came out of this. Can I start with, why did Brock Purdy's name never come up from Joe, who was at the Cowboys game, when he's talking about Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance?
Well, I'm not sure if you listened to the whole episode of Open Mic on the Volume. It's on YouTube and all major audio platforms. But it's not that Brock Purdy didn't come up. I think the conversation had gotten to a point of, what do they do next year if you can't be sure that Brock Purdy is going to be a 6-month perfect recovery, which I would say is the way you have to approach it. 6 months would be amazing. Him going back to the way he was after 6 months, fantastic. I don't think you're in position to count on that. So I think that's probably the context of him saying, I would keep Jimmy. And I did follow up and say, look, they'd have to pay him a lot. He's free. They can't tag him. And we know Jimmy's not coming back. I just thought it was interesting that Joe's impulse was, I don't know why you're trying to replace this guy.
Is part of his impulse a trigger based on the fact that a mobile quarterback, Steve Young, ultimately usurped him as the Niners, and Trey Lance would be the usurper in this current situation?
So Trey Lance is now Steve Young?
Well,
no offense.
I'm just using it in terms of usurpation as I try to get usurping as many times as possible.
I don't know. We'd have to get inside Joe's head, but I covered Joe and Steve, and there are still, trigger points there. He was the greatest quarterback ever to play. He took a franchise that had never won and made them great, and he felt that there was a concerted push to get Steve Young involved, and then once his elbow got hurt, he was the one shipped out. So, yeah, it's a bummer, but I think he just gave his opinion, and I would agree that we have not seen enough from Trey Lance, and Kyle has not seen enough from Trey Lance yet to make that your only plan. And with the uncertainty about Purdy and what we have seen from Trey Lance so far, in my opinion, there has to be at least a fallback, a Matt Ryan type of option, heading into August and September.
Okay, that's an interesting comment. So your thought is the confidence level is not high enough in Trey Lance for him to be the fallback, or am I saying it wrong?
I'd be shocked if Kyle is confident that Trey Lance can definitely be the starting quarterback of this team as constituted in win or else, mode with a shrinking window. He's seen enough from Purdy to believe that could be the plan. No, I just, what we've seen in the limited time he's played, what we saw in training camp, and certainly what Kyle saw over the offseason, the accuracy has not been there, at least on a consistent basis. And he's obviously, just as they were frustrated because Jimmy was hurt a lot, Trey's gotten hurt a lot. So it would be awesome. And it's certainly possible you get a fallback option and Purdy takes a while and Trey Lance teases it over the offseason and starts off and looks like a much better player. But if that's your only plan, I think you're doing a disservice to this team and this window.
Yeah, I agreed. Mike Silver here on 95.7 The Game. In light of the 49ers having to go to a quarterback who couldn't throw, maybe needing a third quarterback, are you getting any sense that the Eagles or the Chiefs might have a third quarterback up, considering both their starters are a little bit hampered?
It's a great question, and I don't know, but I do know this. That whole thing about, the NFL changed the rule in 2011. There's no third emergency quarterback anymore. Well, what they did is they said, instead of giving you that third QB as the 46, we're just going to give you 46. And it's like teams are saying, save us from ourselves. If you give us 46 but don't specify that it has to be a quarterback, we're going to put that extra special teamer because we need the 10th DB. Like, do it. Like, I just don't understand. Your season's on the line. It's an elimination game. Just have 3, just in case, because we saw what happened when you lose 2. Now, that said, if the 49ers had a third guy, that you don't go to the quarterback store and get someone who's going to be as good as your starter or your second stringer, probably. They probably still would have lost that game. It just would have instilled hope, at least, for a little longer.
The QB dispensary, by the way. Give me some of that QB Kush. Thank you.
Yeah, and you guys are saying you want a hybrid next year.
Exactly. A little bit of that sativa Kush,
Maybe stick with the kind.
Yeah, brah.
Mike,
so to speak.
Mike, with the news yesterday of exactly when Purdy is going to get his surgery, I know, it's a standby. It's obvious that there are questions. You don't know what you're going to see in there until you get in there. All of that stuff people say. But it feels to me like the 49ers are chilling. They seem comfortable that he's going to be ready. Are you reading the same thing?
Yeah, but I just there's no way you can be that comfortable. I mean, it's cool. That would be the best. If Brock Purdy in August looks like the Brock Purdy we've seen, awesome. Then you go with him and Trey, and you find out more about Trey, and you've got rookie contracts. You load up, and you've got a real chance next year and the year after. While you've got all these great players, but it's the elbow. It's the throwing elbow, and I saw Joe Montana miss basically 2 seasons with elbow stuff in the early 90s. They're saying it's not Tommy John surgery. That's kind of parsing words. It's not the type of Tommy John surgery where you do a full reconstruction, but it's still surgery on that ligament and trying to get that very important ligament back to where it was. So, doctors are really good. There's a lot of hope. I just think it's like saying, if your speed receiver tore his ACL, he's going to come back. Yeah, he probably is, and he'll probably be really fast, but we've seen very uneven, situations. And I think with a throwing elbow, it's even more delicate.
Mike Silver with his famous and patented Super Bowl voice.
Oh, yeah.
With us right here on 95.7 The Game. And being that as it is, Mike, we'll say so long by saying, party on, Mike.
It's a sprint and a marathon. It's not for the weak. Some of us are chosen to shine in these moments, and caffeine is a wonderful thing.
Oh, caffeine!
And you've
is a hell of a
always
drug.
shown, by the way, I remember our days in New Orleans. It was, I think, you and me and Lorenzo Neal and 2 or 3 other random NFLers, and you were hoarse then. So keep on keeping on, Mike.
I mean, I did a book with Dennis Rodman. I've obviously been chosen to do some very, very journalistically challenging things, and I'm built for it, let's just say.
Oh, all right. Well, then off back to it. Go ahead, Mike. It's you know what I mean? Like, nighttime is coming soon. Get after it.
You know it.
All right, there he goes. Mike Silver.